This is the Rink farm near Galashiels, originally called Langalkirk Farm, which the name originated from a king of Scotland in 800 AD. Did the king of Scotland live here in 800 AD? Let's go and take a look. A lot of people believe that the history of Galashiels began with the onset of the Industrial Revolution and the beginning of the mills in Galashiels. But no. A lot of people believe that the history of Galashiels began 100 or so years before that, when Galashiels was a series of small dwelling houses on the River Gala. But no. And a lot of people believe that the history of Galashiels started in 1337 when a gang of Galashiels men killed the English raiders down at the Raidstein. But no. The history of Galashiels is far more ancient than that. To be honest, far more interesting and important than that. I'm here today at the largest British hill fort in Scotland. The heavily fortified Rink Fortress. Let's go and take a look. The fort at the Rink here was a massively important and quite simply massive structure on the hill at the Rink farm outside Galashiels. The name Rink itself derives from the word ring, and the ring describes the fort. You can see the massive trench around the fort what I'm standing in just now. And the huge fortified walls, almost 8 metres thick, and the whole structure itself was almost 400 metres in diameter. But the thing that I find most mysterious about the whole thing, there's nothing, absolutely nothing written about it. It was quite simply the biggest British structure in the 1st and 2nd century AD. I say British because there were Roman structures at the time which probably outweighed it. But what was this for? Who built it? And that's what I'm going to discover today. So this here is the Rink Fort from afar. The other interesting thing about the Rink Fort for me is its proximity to what's known as the Catrail, or the Black Dyke, or the Picts Ditch Earthwork, which is a massive structure running from down in Kielder right through to Torwoodlee and Galashiels. What was it? Nobody really knows. What was it for? Nobody really knows. So let's follow that today and find out exactly where it goes and what it was for. The route of the Catrail, this immense ditch, which nobody seems to know what it was for, whether it was a defence fortification, a boundary marker. I mean, there have even been suggestions that it could be some form of road, but I don't think they're true. But the route runs from the Rink through the back of Hollybush Farm, down to Mussellee Farm, and then into Galashiels before heading off to Torwoodlee. So we're going to have a walk along here behind Hollybush and see if we can see any evidence. I'm now up here at behind the farm at Hollybush, and this is one of the best sort of preserved segments of the Catrail, or the Picts Ditch Earthwork, and the whole route to Galashiels. You can clearly see it running along here. But the question is, who was it to defend against, and who was it defending? And it kind of puts Galashiels right at the forefront of some sort of war or boundary dispute. It does actually become quite mind-blowing when you're up here at Hollybush when you see the scale of this ditch. And this obviously is just a small section of it. This ran all the way from Kielder into Galashiels. It's a massive labour undertaking. You just wonder how they managed it. But in Galashiels, the people who lived around here, or the common consensus of the people that lived around here, were peaceful tribesmen who bowed to the Romans and did everything the Romans said. But everything that I'm talking about today kind of points to Pictish influence in Galashiels. And if you've never heard of the Picts, these were the wild men, the barbarians, the tattooed men of the north of Scotland, who really never had any connection with the south of Scotland. But there's so much in the Galashiels area that points to Pictish involvement in our society and our culture. And this, believe me, this Picts Ditch Earthwork, the Catrail, is only the beginning. Once we get to Galashiels, we'll see some real stunning evidence. So we've just walked over the hills from Hollybush along the line of the Catrail, and this is kind of where the Catrail enters Galashiels. And I suppose the most obvious piece of evidence for the Catrail running along here is this street here. And the name of the street is... that's right, Catrail Road. So we'll follow the line off Catrail Road down towards Torwoodlee and see what's there. We're now in the Torwoodlee estate in Galashiels. We've followed the line of the Picts Ditch Earthwork to here, and you can vaguely see the line of the ditch coming up through the Torwoodlee estate. We're just going to follow it now to the top of the hill, where you will see some real conclusive evidence of Picts in Galashiels. Come with me. The line of the Catrail then follows this, roughly this wall in Torwoodlee to the top of the hill here, where it terminates. But where it terminates, there's a bit of a surprise. Let's go and see what that is. And here we are, Torwoodlee Broch. The Broch, almost exclusively built in the north of Scotland by the Picts. But no, right here in Galashiels, a Broch. Obvious evidence of the Picts in Galashiels. The whole structure is very clearly defined. You can obviously see the door here. And then you just need to look at the size of some of these worked stones. I mean, look at this. It's clearly some form of lintel or real supportive stone. How did they get that up here, BC? Nobody knows. But this is a truly awe-inspiring sight. It's magnificent. Nobody ever comes here in Galashiels. Half the people at Galashiels don't even know anything about it. Here's a clear staircase. How good is that? Structure's massive. There's a large ditch around it as well. And then the views down into Galashiels. Absolutely fantastic from a defence point of view, which is probably why this Broch was built. And you may be thinking, it's just a one-off. The people of Galashiels have copied the Brochs of the north of Scotland. But it's not a one-off. There is another Broch in this area. It's on top of that hill there that I've just zoomed in on. That one's known as Bow Castle Broch. Two Brochs with close proximity to each other. What were they defending against? Who was it that built them? Anyway, the Broch was supposedly destroyed by Roman invaders in 800 AD. 800 AD this was destroyed by Roman invaders. I think this Galashiels area has been a real pinch point in the fight of the Scottish tribes united against the Romans. And the hills of Galashiels have been a real first line of defence against these guys. So yet again, just when I thought I'd exhausted all my history options in Galashiels, I come up with another absolutely astonishing piece of history. Why were the Picts here in Galashiels? You know, was it an allegiance or was it an invasion? Nobody knows, and I don't think we'll ever know. Historian Alistair Moffat has actually surmised that the Picts and the Selgovae from the Galashiels area formed an alliance and even used this as a staging post for raids on London. Imagine that, Galashiels right at the epicentre of Scottish raids on London. I don't know, but one thing's for certain, the town, or the area where the town is now, has been a real hive of activity and life and culture and war for many, many centuries before we started to document it. Why not come up here for yourself and have a look?